The movie starts in a Kyiv opera house. Ukrainian gunmen storm the venue just as the performance is about to start, shooting the conductor and terrorizing the audience and orchestra. An undercover SWAT team gets ready to enter the building outside, to put the patrons and performers to sleep while they enter to rescue a compromised spy and recover an unidentified artifact. They gas the establishment. The team handles the gunmen's bombs after the spy is found. When the protagonist goes down to retrieve the bombs, he notices a bullet hole. The bullet appears to be taken by an unidentified agent with a red tag on his bag, as it appears to fly backward from where it was fired. The agents then throw the bombs away where there are no people as they explode. The protagonist is captured just as the agents are running away. The man awakens between two train tracks with another agent tied up, being tortured for information. One of the captors steals the pill from the protagonist when he tries to take it. The protagonist jumps for it and takes it, seemingly dying, as the other agent on the ground takes his. As this was only a test and the pill was fake, he later awakens in a hospital, but all of his co-workers have died. Victor, his boss, recruits him for a new mission under the Tenet organization, as this new job involves the fate of the world. The protagonist is brought to meet Laura, a woman who explains how the mission works. She hands him a firearm and instructs him to point it at a rock. The bullet hits a rock and returns to the gun. The bullets pass through time backward. Laura defines because their entropy is inverted. The plan is to find the source of the inverted bullets before the creators use their technology to pass things like nuclear weapons through inversion. The protagonist locates Sanjay Singh as the target of the bullets. He calls Victor and asks for help breaking into Sanjay's house. Neil, a local sent to assist the protagonist, meets him. Later that evening, the two climb up into Sanjay's building using bungee cords, but when they try to question him, they realize that they should speak to Priya, Sanjay's Tenet-employed wife. She tells the protagonist that a Russian oligarch named Andrei Sator, who has access to the future, is the source of the bullets. The protagonist is instructed by Priya to approach Andrei and learn how he creates the inverted bullets. In a restaurant, the protagonist meets Sir Michael Crosby. Crosby describes to him how Andrei was raised in a Soviet secret city that had experienced a significant accident and had subsequently been used for underground testing. Crosby gives the protagonist one of the two fake Goya paintings, the other of which was purchased by Andrei, and advises him to approach Andrei through Kat, his ex. The protagonist meets Kat after watching her with her son Max, and discovers that Andrei is extorting money from her by threatening to reveal her involvement in the fraud with the painting. A short while later, some of Andrei's goons show up to lead Kat outside. As the protagonist tries to follow her, a few remain in the kitchen, and he fights them off. In the meantime, Neil gathers information about the location and determines that security will be tight, so he plans to crash a plane into the hangar as a distraction. The protagonist meets Priya on a boat, where he discovers the name of the device, a turnstile, which inverts time and was created in the future. She also cautions him to not kill Andrei before discovering his connection to the future. At a dinner to where the protagonist and other guests are invited, Andrei appears to make threats against the protagonist, as he thinks that he is involved with Kat because he has seen them together. However, the protagonist is able to persuade Andrei to schedule a boat trip for the following morning, so they can talk about the opera. Then, in exchange for payment, Andrei requests a meeting with the protagonist and requires not only that he refrain from harming Kat, but also that he assist him in obtaining a case of plutonium that he has his eye on. Then, as a helicopter lands with a crate containing gold bars, Andrei exits the building. The protagonist witnesses Andrei killing a man with a gold bar. He is spotted and apprehended by Andrei's henchmen, and he attempts to out the protagonist as a spy with the W0rld phrase, but he refuses to budge. After releasing the protagonist, he agrees to assist in obtaining the plutonium from Tallinn. Following a truck, the protagonist and Neil have their team use other vehicles to surround it. This allows the protagonist to get inside and seize the plutonium case. only to discover that it is actually a different artifact entirely and not plutonium. When Andre's van approaches them, he shows them that he is aiming a gun at Kat's head. The protagonist seems to toss Andre the case as an inverted car that had previously appeared to crash passes between them while traveling in reverse. Then, as Andre switches cars, he makes an attempt to get to the other vehicle in order to save Kat. After the vehicle comes to a halt, Andre's men open fire on the protagonist and Neil. The protagonist is captured and taken to a separate room, similar to the one at the Oslo facility. Andre has Kat in his possession while they are inverted, and he demands to know where the plutonium is, even going so far as to hit Kat in the abdomen with an inverted bullet. Kat is carried by the protagonist through the turnstile as they pass through the previous week in an effort to save her. He drives to the scene of the chase while wearing a respiratory mask after entering the machine, where he eventually finds himself in the car that crashes. The car erupts when Andre realizes that he can't have what he wants, but the inversion makes the protagonist almost freeze. After he recovers, he and Neil proceed with taking Kat through the turnstile to the Oslo facility the week before. As soon as the protagonist enters, the antagonist is revealed to be him. He fights his inverted self while Neil notices that the person he was chasing was the protagonist. The protagonist meets Priya once more and discovers that the objects Andre was searching for are actually components of an algorithm which he can use to flip the entire universe. Priya informs the protagonist that he is not the only protagonist who can end the world's suffering, but he thinks he is, and sets up their meeting on a ship. As they travel to the Dead Drop, which is in the secret city Andre came from, where the algorithm is put together and will be activated, the protagonist and Neil meet Ives and his team. Ives tells his team to move through the zone using a temporary pincer maneuver, in which half of them move normally and the other half move inverted. In the meantime, Kat reverses herself to return to the day on the yacht in order to stop Andre from committing suicide. As the Tenet agents move through the area, they encounter numerous explosions. With Neil's assistance, the protagonist enters the drop zone along with a masked agent sporting a red tag, similar to the agent at the Opera House, but a gate blocks their path to the algorithm. He appears to be shot by a henchman, but due to his inverted state, he aids the protagonist in getting through the gate to get to the algorithm. After the plan is successful, Kat decides that she cannot bear to see Andre die, joyfully believing that he has triumphed, so she scatters water and sunscreen on the deck before shooting Andre in the chest. He hits the railing as he falls from the yacht after being pushed off using the greasy floor. Then, Kat leaps from the yacht, revealing that her former self saw her jump. She goes to meet with Mahir. Priya and one of her assailants in London keep an eye on Kat as she picks up Max from school. The protagonist kills the shooter and sits behind Priya in the car before they can close in on her. He tells her that he will become the founder of Tenet and that they were both working for him all along. Priya is killed by the protagonist because she is a loose end. He then watches Kat and Max leave. Subscribe for more videos like this and turn on the notifications so you never miss any of them.